Heavenly miracles manifested, 3 days to attraction of love, abundance, and divine blessings. In the heart of a quaint English village, Mary felt a shift in the very air around her. The sun beamed down like the grace of God itself upon the rolling hills and vibrant gardens, painting everything in gold. Just around the corner, St. Jude's Church stood as a sacred fortress, a place where desperate hearts collided with divine love. It was there that whispers of heavenly miracles began to swirl, setting the stage for something truly extraordinary. Mary had spent the last few months wrestling with grief and uncertainty, navigating life alone ever since her husband's abrupt departure. The weight of bills loomed over her like storm clouds, and yet every Sunday she arrived at the church with hopeful anticipation. She sought solace in the dimly lit sanctuary where the fragrance of burning candles mingled with layers of prayerful silence. As the congregation gathered, the air crackled with unspoken prayers, an energy that felt almost tangible, electrifying. Each week, Mary poured her heart into her petitions, a beautiful tapestry of desperation stitched with threads of faith. But this week was different. The church felt as if it were holding its breath. A hush enveloped the crowd as they kneeled, eyes closed tightly, voices lifted in earnest supplication. It was in that sacred moment that Mary could almost feel a divine presence surrounding her, a love that seemed to promise the world would turn in her favor. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The next day, determination coursed through her veins like wildfire. She resolved to embark on a 3-day spiritual journey, yearning for the love and abundance that once graced her life. As naysayers voiced their doubts, Mary clung to her belief. Could prayer truly change her destiny? Sunday morphed into a sacred sanctuary, and soon enough, her fervent cries echoed against the stone walls. "Dear St. Jude, patron saint of the hopeless, grant me miracles." On the second evening, just as her faith began to waver, a stranger entered the church. Dressed in a simple, worn coat, his eyes carried the burdens of untold stories. As he approached Mary, murmurs rippled through the congregation. The stranger spoke of divine love and a message that connected the past with the present, a revelation that could alter everything she believed. The air around them shimmered with an unearthly light as Mary listened, heart racing, realizing an unexpected connection was unfolding right before her. This moment ignited a flicker of hope in the community, stirring debates of faith among those previously skeptical. Would they rise and embrace the miracle, or would they cling tightly to doubt? And there Mary stood, trembling between newfound faith and old fears. As she returned home, her thoughts danced between visions of abundance and the shadows of lingering pains. A celestial presence tugged at her heart, beckoning her to pursue the glorious potential laid before her. With the sun setting, casting an ethereal glow over the village, Mary sensed the dawn of transformation looming on the horizon. But would she muster the courage to dive deeper into this divine adventure? That question hung in the air like the promise of an unforgettable morning. As dawn broke, Mary's resolve strengthened like the rays of sun breaking through morning fog. The world outside her window shimmered with promise, and she could feel a divine energy stirring within her spirit. Today marked the beginning of the final chapter of her 3-day journey, a crossroads illuminated by faith and the whispers of her heart. With a deep breath, she dressed with intention, selecting a simple yet radiant blue dress. The color seemed to echo her hope, a gentle reminder of her heart's yearning. She grabbed her small worn Bible and walked purposefully towards St. Jude's Church, each step a pledge of her trust in God's plan. The air was crisp, fresh with the scent of dew-soaked grass, awakening memories of days filled with laughter and love. Upon entering the church, Mary felt an intense warmth envelop her. The sun streamed through the stained glass windows, splashing colors across the wooden pews. It was a sight that filled her spirit, reminding her of the beauty that still existed despite the pain she had endured. Quiet conversations and gentle prayers filled the space, creating a sacred tapestry of connection among those gathered. As Mary kneeled and poured out her heart, she spoke with the deepest sincerity. "Dear God," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I ask not just for love and abundance, but for the strength to embrace whatever comes my way. Help me to truly believe in the miracles woven into our lives." A soft rustle drew her attention. The stranger from the previous evening was back, seated just a few rows ahead. This time, he was accompanied by an elderly woman with wise eyes that sparkled like stars. Mary felt an unexplainable pull toward them, as if they were guides on her path. During the service, the stranger rose and approached the altar. "We gather here today, not simply as individuals, but as one body united in faith," he declared, his voice resonating with power. "We all stand in moments of struggle, but remember, our Lord works wonders beyond our imaginations." The congregation leaned in closely, their hearts stirring with hope. His words wound through the air, touching each soul, igniting flickers of unwavering belief. "Miracles are not distant dreams," he continued. "They are within reach, tied to our faith and the intentions we set forth." As he spoke, Mary's heart began to race, each beat echoing like a drum of divine revelation. And then he turned directly to her, his gaze piercing through the crowd. "Mary, the love and abundance you seek are not simply gifts. They are revelations waiting for your acceptance. Open your heart fully." A gasp rippled through the parishioners. Mary's breath caught in her throat as she felt the weight of his words settle upon her spirit like a cloak of comfort. Warm tears streamed down her cheeks, releasing years of pent-up grief and doubt. Her chest tightened with anticipation as hope blossomed within her. What could unfold if she opened herself to the possibilities? What if love and abundance were just a prayer away? As the service concluded, Mary remained seated, the flicker of newfound clarity igniting her soul. She glanced at the elderly woman, who offered a knowing smile, as if she held the key to 1,000 stories. There was something sacred in that shared moment, a connection to the divine that promised more than just ordinary life. As the congregation poured out into the sunlight, chatter and laughter mingled, filling the air with joy. But within Mary, a question lingered. What step must she take next to fully embrace this divine journey? The answer awaited her just beyond the doors of the church, where the world spun with infinite possibility. As Mary stepped outside, the sunlight enveloped her like a warm embrace. The laughter and chatter of the congregation drifted around her, a symphony of hope and camaraderie. She closed her eyes momentarily, letting the buzz of life wash over her, mingling with the stirring awe in her heart. What was this new awakening? Whispers of desire and purpose beckoned her to take a leap of faith. "Where do I go from here?" she pondered aloud, her words scarcely breaking the air. The question hung between her and the universe, waiting for an answer. Deciding to follow her instincts, Mary wandered toward the park nearby. Each step felt deliberate, as if the universe guided her toward deeper truths. The trees swayed gently, their branches lifting in search of the sky, mirroring her yearning for connection with something greater. She found a bench under a mighty oak, its roots deeply planted, a fitting metaphor for her own need for spiritual grounding. Sitting there, she opened her Bible, its pages worn from use, yet filled with wisdom. As she flipped through, a verse caught her eye. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Those words resonated deeply within her. Could it be that even in her darkest moments, God had been setting the stage for something extraordinary? She closed her eyes again, absorbing the light filtering through the leaves, feeling the whispers of the Holy Spirit brush across her skin like a gentle breeze. Abruptly, she sensed a presence beside her. It was the elderly woman from the church, the one with the sparkling eyes. Mary's heart leaped with recognition. "You were in the service," Mary said, her voice warm with the shared experience. "Yes, dear," the woman replied, her voice smooth like honey. "I felt drawn to you as well. Sometimes we carry burdens we do not wish to share, but it's in release that we find healing." Mary's heart fluttered. "I feel something has shifted in me. I want to embrace joy and abundance, but I'm scared." "Fear is simply the veil that masks faith," she said, a knowing smile etched upon her face. "You must choose to walk through it. You will discover that the love and abundance you seek is intertwined with courage and willingness to let go." With every word, the woman illuminated the path before her. Mary felt the tears threatening again, but this time they were not of sadness. They were tears of release, of awakening. A longing stirred within her, a desire to live not just for herself, but for the dream she had yet to cultivate. As they spoke, the atmosphere shifted, a palpable energy crackling in the air. Around them, the park bustled with life, but for Mary, time stood still. She felt the very fabric of her reality change, as if the earth beneath her feet was preparing for a miracle. "I am ready," Mary exclaimed, her voice steady with newfound resolve. "I want to open my heart fully." The elderly woman nodded, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Good. Blessings are waiting for you, but remember, sometimes we must release what does not serve us to receive what God has in store." With that, a sense of urgency ignited within Mary. What if there were obstacles she must clear? What if memories or fears were holding her back? As she prepared to stand, the stranger from the church appeared in the distance, walking toward her with purpose. There was an unspoken connection, a sense that his arrival marked another layer of her journey unfolding. "Mary," he called softly, his presence somehow soothing yet electrifying. Would this encounter change everything? What miracle was on the horizon? The possibilities danced in her heart, and the adventure was just beginning. As the stranger approached, a stillness wrapped around Mary, an echo of divine assurance settling deep within her soul. She marveled at how his presence seemed to light the air between them, almost electric with promise. The sunlight glinted off his dark hair, and for a moment it felt as if he carried a fragment of the glow that surrounded her. "Hello," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "I felt compelled to speak with you." Mary's heart raced. I'm Mary," she replied, her voice trembling slightly, yet full of a growing strength. "I was just having a moment of reflection." "I sensed that," he replied, sliding onto the bench beside her. "It's not often you find someone attuned to the voice of the Spirit. There's a light in your eyes, a spark that indicates transformation is close." "Transformation," she echoed, a flicker of hope blossoming within her. "I'm seeking it. I want to welcome all the blessings God has for me, but I feel tethered by fears and past hurts." He nodded knowingly, his expression serious yet compassionate. "Ah, yes. It's easy to become anchor-bound by our struggles. The soul yearns to soar, but the weight of fear can feel immense. You are not alone in this." Mary felt understood, as if he saw through her facade into the depths of her heart. "What do I do?" she asked, her voice a mix of desperation and trust. "Embrace the discomfort. Fear is not the enemy, but rather a symptom of growth. Each challenge is a step toward the new life God has waiting for you," he encouraged, his eyes shining with conviction. "What you resist will persist, but what you embrace has the power to set you free." With each word, Mary felt layers of her fears peeling away, like a flower unfurling its petals to the sun. What if, indeed, embracing her struggles unleashed the joy she craved? She sensed her pulse quickening as anticipation thrummed through her veins. "Just think of it," he continued. "Abundance is not only tangible riches, but also spiritual gifts, the kind that makes your heart sing and ignites passion in your spirit. But first, let go of everything that holds you captive. Ask yourself, what have I been gripping too tightly?" The weight of his question hung in the air, ripe and heavy with possibility. She imagined her clenched fists loosening, releasing doubts and disappointments. In that moment of clarity, whispers of her past floated through her mind, painful memories, the loss of dreams, all shadows that dimmed her light. "I've held on to fear and guilt," she admitted softly, the truth spilling forth. "What if I let go and fall?" "Then you will discover how to fly," he said with a smile, gentle yet firm. "Trust that God always catches those who take leaps of faith. It is in release that we become available for grace." Mary's heart swelled as courage blossomed within her, replacing the remnants of fear. Could it be true? The idea that her past did not define her, but rather equipped her for a richer destiny? As they talked, Mary's spirit felt lifted from the weight of the earth, allowing her to glimpse the possibilities that lay ahead. The stranger's presence became a balm, soothing her restless heart and filling her with hope. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling the profound connection between them. "I feel like I'm waking up." He nodded, gazing at her earnestly. "The journey ahead will test your faith, but don't shy away from it. God orchestrates all things for good. Your struggles are but stepping stones towards a life overflowing with love and blessings." With that, he rose slowly, the sunlight catching the subtle glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Don't forget, Mary, the best is yet to come." As he walked away, Mary sat quietly, feeling the warmth of the sun against her skin. A new fire ignited within her, revealing the first steps on a journey full of promise. But what would faith ask of her next? What profound lessons awaited on the horizon? The air buzzed with possibility, and her heart raced with unspoken questions. Mary sat on the bench for a long moment, the warmth of the sun wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. The stranger's words looped through her mind, a divine melody whispering to her heart. She felt different somehow, lighter, as if a curtain that had long concealed her true self was being pulled back to reveal radiant colors within her soul. What had he meant by the journey ahead testing her faith? Did it mean she would face challenges? Would her determination be put to the test? A mix of excitement and trepidation surged within her. She realized if she wanted to welcome blessings, she had to step boldly into the unknown, no more clinging to the shadows of her past. As if answering her silent contemplation, a soft breeze rustled the leaves above, adding a symphonic sigh to the moment. Mary closed her eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of nature mingled with sunlight. She felt a gentle nudge from within, encouraging her to release the last vestiges of her doubts. With a heart full of renewed purpose, she stood up from the bench. Her feet felt rooted, as if the earth itself was urging her forward. A path stretched out before her, lined with blossoming flowers that seemed to nod their heads in agreement. Each step seemed to vibrate with possibility, but the road ahead was not without its obstacles. That night, in the quiet of her bedroom, old fears crept in like unwelcome shadows. Could she really let go of her past hurts? What if she stumbled and fell flat again? The thoughts clawed at her, persistent and nagging. Suddenly, a verse she had memorized during her childhood came rushing to her mind. "For I know the plans I have for you," it resonated, echoing in the silence of her room. "Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in a future." With the light of that promise shining in her heart, she closed her eyes once more, sinking into stillness. She began to pray, words flowing freely. "Lord, I let go of my fear. I trust in your plans. You've guided me this far, and I seek to embrace the new life you have for me." The more she prayed, the lighter she felt. It was as if her burdens were being lifted one by one. Tears of surrender slipped down her cheeks, mingling with a profound peace she had never known before. She pictured her fears floating away like feathers on the wind. Over the next few days, Mary began to notice signs everywhere. In simple things, a friendly smile from a stranger, a sudden laugh shared with a friend, the vibrant colors of a sunset. Each moment felt like a touch from the divine, reaffirming that she was not alone in her journey. However, one afternoon as she wandered through a local market, she was stopped in her tracks. A soft melody drifted towards her ears, sweetly beckoning her to pause. A musician strummed an old guitar, singing about love and hope. Mary stood entranced, every note resonating deep within her weary heart. The melody stirred something within her, a longing for connection, a desire for a love that transcended her past. As the last notes faded into the air, Mary was left with an inexplicable sense of yearning. What if love was just around the corner, waiting for her to take the leap? Her heart raced at the thought, and along with that pulse of anticipation came doubt again. Was she truly ready to open herself up to love when the wounds of her past still felt fresh? With that question lingering, Mary knew she had come to a crossroads. Would she embrace the possibility of love, or would fear hold her back? The answer was veiled in uncertainty, but one thing was clear. A new chapter was unfolding. With faith as her guide, she felt it was time to step boldly forward into whatever lay ahead. What awaited Mary on this new journey? Mary awakened the next morning, sunlight pouring through her window, as if the universe itself was urging her to rise and shine. She stretched her arms, embracing the warmth of a new day filled with untapped possibilities. The reminders of her encounters lingered in her mind. She fervently acknowledged each spark of hope that lit her heart. Yet as she stood in front of the mirror, her reflection stared back with a familiar blend of optimism and hesitation. Today, she promised herself, would be different. Each heartbeat echoed the words of that verse. For I know the plans I have for you. She believed this truth was alive and waiting just beyond her reach. With a determined step, she left her home, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The streets buzzed with life, children laughed, flowers bloomed, and couples strolled hand in hand, each moment another testament to love's beauty. As she passed by the musician from the day before, he was strumming his guitar once again, and the tune flowed like a river of joy. Scents of blooming jasmine wafted through the air, wrapping around her like a cherished memory. Mary felt drawn to the melody. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the music seep into her very soul. In the midst of that bustling world, her spirit soared. It was a gentle nudge, a reminder that love awaited her, calling her into its depths. But doubt lingered, whispering insidiously at the corners of her heart. What if they see your wounds, Mary? Will you ever really be whole? Yet she reaffirmed her pledge to cast away shadows. I am healed, I am whole, and I am worthy of love, she whispered, a mantra that felt both new and incredibly powerful. At the market, Mary found herself perusing the stalls, each vibrantly displayed fruit and crafted good exciting her senses. She stopped at one stand, drawn to the striking colors of fresh flowers. As she reached to touch the sunflowers, their golden petals caught the sunlight, sending warm rays dancing around her. Beautiful flowers for a beautiful spirit, said the vendor, an elderly woman with sparkling eyes. Mary looked up, and they exchanged a knowing smile. The beauty often reflects what's within, doesn't it? Mary replied. Indeed, dear, the woman said with a gentle nod. Gardeners know that when we nurture what is planted, it blossoms with time. Those words struck a chord deep within Mary. She felt as if the universe was aligning her experiences, planting seeds of faith for her to nurture. With her bouquet of flowers in hand, she continued through the market, passing all sorts of stalls. She even considered joining a crafts workshop advertised nearby. It felt like this day was meant to bloom. Yet, her mind raced with thoughts of how her heart might shatter if she allowed it to truly connect with others again. As evening approached, she sat at a cafe watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and lavender. A young couple nearby laughed and shared their dreams, clearly in love. A sudden wave of longing washed over her. For a brief moment she sank into her thoughts, wondering if she would ever experience such joy. Would she make the leap into love? Or would she forever play it safe, cocooned in the comfort of solitude? In that moment of vulnerability, she felt a pull, a soft reminder that faith often flourishes in the space between the known and the unknown. Was she brave enough to trust the beauty of unfolding grace? Just as she inhaled deeply, a quiet voice whispered in her heart, "Wait and see, Mary. The journey has yet to reveal its treasures." What miracles might materialize as she opened herself to this new chapter? The question hung in the air, a sweet promise of what was yet to come. Mary awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The sun streamed through her window, awakening her spirit as much as her body. Today was not just another day, it felt like the beginning of something extraordinary. The soft whisper of the universe beckoned her forward, and she felt a surge of determination flowing through her veins. With a grateful heart, she made her morning coffee, savoring the aroma that filled her kitchen. Each sip ignited possibilities. She sat by her window, flowers now brightly displayed on the table, and marveled at the delicate way life danced outside. Birds flitted from branch to branch, celebrating existence with their songs. Life itself was a symphony, and Mary was ready to join the melody. Stepping outside felt like stepping into new shoes. The streets were alive with possibility. People exchanged cheerful greetings, shopkeepers animatedly promoted their wares, and laughter mingled with the soft rustling of leaves. As she walked, her heart opened to every encounter, letting each moment of connection wash over her like a gentle tide. At the cafe again, she chose a different table this time, one under the warm embrace of the sun. She noticed a quaint bookshop across the street, its windows lined with colorful spines calling to her. Intrigued, she decided to let curiosity guide her feet. Once inside, the scent of aged paper and leather wrapped around her like a comforting hug. She wandered through the aisles, touched the books lovingly, letting her fingers dance across titles that seemed to speak into her very soul. One particular book caught her eye, and she pulled it from the shelf. It was a collection of stories about love, faith, and the miraculous ways God intervenes in the lives of those who seek Him. As she thumbed through its pages, the stories unfolded like petals of a flower, each one more inspiring than the last. The narratives of heartache turning into hope resonated deeply with her. She realized then that she was not alone in her journey. There were countless others, just like her, yearning for love yet fearful of vulnerability. She purchased the book and found a cozy corner in the cafe to read. Soon, the hours slipped away, and the world outside transformed from bright daylight to the soft glow of twilight. The feeling of wanting to experience love blossomed within her like one of the sunflowers she cherished. This was more than longing. It was an insatiable desire to connect, to open her heart even if only a little. As she turned the last page, a sense of peace washed over her. She noticed a figure across the cafe, a man reading with utmost concentration. An inexplicable connection sparked between them. He glanced up, their eyes meeting in a silent exchange that seemed to transcend words. In that moment, time stood still. It felt as if God was orchestrating this very connection, weaving their paths together for reasons beyond their understanding. Just as she was about to gather her belongings, a thought struck her. Could it be that the treasures she had been waiting for were already unfolding before her eyes? Was she ready to embrace this unexpected moment, to step boldly into whatever God was crafting for her? A fluttering of excitement surged through her, whispering of change, and filled her heart with divine hope. What revelation awaited her in this unexpected connection? Mary's heart raced with an unfamiliar mix of excitement and anxiety. For a moment, she hesitated, torn between moving toward the unknown or retreating into the familiar safety of her solitude. Yet, as she looked back into the man's eyes, a flame of courage ignited within her. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring their paths together. She couldn't ignore it. Gathering her things, she took a deep breath. With each step toward him, she felt herself bridging the gap between silence and connection. She could hear her own heartbeat, a rhythm echoing with anticipation. The man had a warm smile, his eyes inviting her into a world yet to be explored. "Hi there," she managed, her voice a soft melody against the background chatter of the cafe. "Hello," he replied, his enthusiasm lighting up his features. "I couldn't help but notice the book you were reading. It's one of my favorites." They fell into conversation easily, each word flowing like a gentle stream. He introduced himself as Daniel, and as they spoke, Mary felt an undeniable bond growing stronger. They shared stories of dreams, struggles, and the beauty of faith that propelled them through the trials of life. In those moments, Mary found herself laughing, sharing, and opening up in ways she hadn't anticipated. She felt a warmth blossoming in her chest, a reflection of grace resting gently upon them. Daniel spoke not merely of love, but of purpose, of divine timing, and of paths crossing at just the right moment. His words resonated with her inner longing, a confirmation that the universe had indeed aligned for them. As they talked about faith and destiny, Mary glimpsed deeper truths. Here was a man who valued love not merely as a feeling, but as a sacred journey of two souls intertwined. And with every laugh and every shared hope, she saw glimpses of her own future. Vivacious, rich with love, and blessed by divine favor. The cafe faded to a distant hum as the two began to dream about what a life together might look like. They envisioned not just a connection marked by passion, but one filled with shared intentions of kindness and grace. With each shared vision, Mary felt the weight of doubt lift, replaced by the buoyancy of belief. But just as clarity filled the air, a soft flutter of uncertainty brushed against her heart. What if this was only a fleeting moment? Was she brave enough to pursue these potential blessings, or would fear hold her back? As if sensing her turmoil, Daniel held her gaze and smiled reassuringly. "We never know how life will unfold. It's about taking the leap and embracing what comes next." His words pierced through her doubt. Could she trust in God's plan? Could faith be the foundation upon which this moment strengthened? At that instant, Mary realized her journey was only just beginning, each encounter unfolding like pages in a divine story still being written. Daniel's presence felt like an invitation to step boldly into love, just as she had wanted, even if it meant embracing the unknown. In that moment, as evening settled over the cafe, Mary's heart echoed with possibility. the thrill of a new chapter just unfolding. What miracle would arise from this newfound connection? Would she have the courage to follow it wherever it led? And what other divine surprises awaited her just around the corner? Mary woke the next morning with a smile that seemed to mirror the sun peeking through her window. She remembered the warmth of Daniel's gaze and their shared hopes. It felt as if a new dawn had broken within her spirit. Every beat of her heart whispered promises of adventure and connection. She couldn't help but feel that God had orchestrated this moment just for her. As she prepared for her day, she felt different. The familiar hesitations that had anchored her felt lighter, almost buoyant. She chose her clothes with care, feeling as though she was dressing for something special, for a day written in the stars. With her book in hand, Mary ventured again into the cafe, anticipation coursing through her veins. Would Daniel be there? The thought made her heart race, like a bird fluttering in a cage just waiting for the door to be opened. When she entered, the aroma of fresh coffee wrapped around her like a blanket. The world inside hummed with life, yet her eyes immediately sought him. And there he was, a beacon of light seated by the window, a smile spreading across his face as he noticed her. "Good morning," Daniel called, gesturing her to join him. Mary felt the warmth of connection wrap around her as she sat down. Their conversation resumed seamlessly, as though it had never paused. They spoke of hopes and dreams, weaving through laughter and shared stories like a tapestry being crafted thread by thread. "Have you ever thought about how divine timing plays a role in our lives?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. Mary nodded, feeling a thrill wind through her. "Absolutely. I think everything happens for a reason, like dots just waiting to be connected." Daniel leaned in, and there was a shift in the air, a whisper of divine possibility. "It's such a beautiful thought. Sometimes the trials we face clear a path to those moments that feel completely meant for us." With every word exchanged, their connection deepened, like roots finding fertile ground. They shared personal stories, their fears, and their dreams. Each revelation felt like a sacred offering, a glimpse into their hearts. Mary realized she was beginning to trust him, not just as someone new, but as a partner in a journey blessed by grace. But then, a sliver of doubt crept back. "What if I can't keep up with this?" she thought, her mind racing. "What if my past holds me back?" Sensing her change in energy, Daniel gently reached across the table. "You know," he said softly, "trusting in the unknown can be scary. But remember, our journeys are often paved with exactly these kinds of encounters meant to grow us." His words rang with a heavenly wisdom that struck deep within her. Could it be that her struggles were the soil from which this new connection could bloom? The thought both comforted and challenged her. Maybe all we need to do is take one step at a time, trusting that God's plan is unfolding as it should. Daniel continued, looking intently into her eyes, connecting their hearts in that moment. Mary felt a lightness in her spirit, as if the weight of her past was slowly lifting. She realized that each moment spent with Daniel was unraveling a deeper understanding of love, one not bound by fear, but free to blossom in faith. As they leaned back, laughter spilling over their words, Mary sensed something beautiful was forming, and yet the question still loomed. Would she have the strength to embrace this path? What wonders lay ahead in this journey of faith and connection? But as they continued to share, she felt a stirring in her heart, a whisper that more awaited her just beyond this moment. Little did she know, the ground was being prepared for something beyond her wildest dreams. What awaited them both on this divine adventure? Would the leap of faith they were considering lead to a greater miracle ahead? Mary awoke on the final morning of her 3-day spiritual journey, the whisper of dawn touching her cheeks like a divine kiss. The light pouring through her window felt like a promise, radiating warmth and invitation. Every heartbeat pulsed with the belief that today would culminate in something wondrous. The sun painted the world outside in hues of gold and crimson, as if God himself had laid out a canvas for her heart to explore. As she moved about her morning rituals, anticipation thrummed in her veins. She could feel the weight of hope burgeoning within her as she prepared for another day at St. Jude's Church. Today was not just a day like any other. It was the day she would decide whether to fully surrender to love and abundance or retreat into the safety of her fears. Mary arrived at the church, the familiar scents of incense and candle wax welcoming her back. As she stepped inside, she could feel the spirit of the congregation wrapping around her like a sacred blanket, a reminder that they were all united in their pursuit of God's grace. Her heart soared at the sight of the elderly woman with sparkling eyes and the stranger who had stirred something profound within her. The congregation sat in prayer, a symphony of voices rising to the heavens. Mary knelt, her face turned to the floor, pouring her heart out in a raw, unfiltered confession. "Dear God," she breathed, "I am ready to give fully of myself, to accept your blessings, and to open my heart to love." In that sacred silence, a profound stillness enveloped her. The weight of the world slipped from her shoulders, replaced by a powerful current of divine energy. Suddenly, there was a flicker, a gentle stirring of presence. Mary closed her eyes tightly, not wanting to lose this moment, this connection to something far greater than herself. As she opened her eyes, the elderly woman moved closer, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Mary, dear, today is a day of release. You are shedding old burdens to embrace the blessings that await you," she whispered with an ethereal glow in her gaze. Those words resonated deep within Mary's soul, igniting a spark of courage. With the service concluding, the stranger stood once more, his voice echoing through the hallowed space. "Brothers and sisters, today is a day of miracles. If you wish to experience love, fulfillment, and abundance, step into the light." His words sliced through to Mary's heart, urging her onward. The congregation began to stir, a palpable energy vibrating throughout the air. Mary inhaled deeply, gathering all her resolution. "This is it," she thought. The final hymn began, and as the notes swelled, Mary realized she had a choice to make. With every chord, her heart knocked louder against her chest. This was her moment to claim her future, to leap into love and faith. Tears streamed down her cheeks, not from sorrow, but from a release so sweet and freeing. It was as if a mighty river of doubt crashed against the dam she had built and burst forth with unyielding force. She stood, the light illuminating her from above, the congregation around her rising in unison. Clutching the front pew, she declared, "I am ready to embrace love. Send me the strength to rise and meet it." The stranger locked eyes with her, a knowing smile radiating hope. In that instant, time stopped. A divine connection pulsed between them, as if God was validating her leap to reveal today's promise of hope and love. She stepped forward into the light streaming through the stained glass, and in that sanctuary aflame with color, she felt a warmth wash over her. Surrounding her were fellow believers, faces aglow with reverent awe, eyes locked onto her as if they too understood the significance of this sacred moment. Suddenly, a rush of voices broke the air. People began to clap, urging her forward, lifting her spirit, as she realized her bold step was an encouragement to those around her. "Yes, yes, love awaits!" The lyrics of unity and love pierced her heart, igniting a longing deep within. Stepping outside felt like stepping from shadow to light. The village welcomed her, colors were brighter, laughter sweeter. In that moment, she understood. The love she sought was not just around her, but within her reach, waiting to manifest in ways she couldn't yet imagine. As Mary wandered through the streets, her heart buoyant, she glimpsed Daniel walking towards her, a smile illuminating his face. Joy erupted in her chest. This wasn't merely a chance meeting, it was a divine orchestration. Their eyes met, an electric current igniting between them. "Mary, there you are!" he exclaimed, joy spilling from him. "I felt you drawing closer. I was hoping I'd see you today." "Today is a day of miracles," Mary responded, her voice radiant. And in that instant, the weight of fear fell away, revealing a tapestry woven with faith, hope, and love. Hand in hand, they stepped forward into the promise of the day, ready to embrace whatever God had in store for them. Mary knew that her heart was open, her spirit ignited, and her life poised to bloom, not just for herself, but for all those around her. Here, in this sacred village, Mary felt the culmination of her faith, the manifestation of a new life filled with love, abundance, and divine blessings. Now, as you finish this extraordinary journey with Mary, remember, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly matters. Every click helps spread divine hope. Comment below with your heartfelt reactions and testimonies about this ending. We want to hear how your faith has transformed through these stories. Lastly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and provision. Don't wait even one more second. In unity we rise. True servants of God know the power of sharing His message.